beloved father and family man, friend and statesman. The people who loved and knew George Herbert Walker Bush finally remembered the country's 41st president as the nation prepares to say its final goodbyes. Air Force One touched down at Ellington Field in Texas this afternoon in preparation for George H.W. Bush's transportation to Washington, D.C., where he will lie in state for 3 days beginning tomorrow.
Faithfully execute.
The nation's 41st president died Friday night at his home in Houston. His son Neil was among those who were there.
It was nice to see him pass away on his own terms, in his room, surrounded by family, and it was kind of a wonderful experience, truth be told.
James Baker was Secretary of State and Chief of Staff during the first Bush presidency.
The very last words he spoke were spoken to George W. Bush, President Bush 43, who had told him how much he loved him and that he would see him on the other side. And 41 said, "I love you too."
On Face the Nation, he recalled how he said goodbye to his longtime friend.
He looked up at me, opened both eyes, looked at me and said, "Jim, where are we going?" And I said, well, Jeffy, because that's what I called him, Jeffy, which is Spanish for chief. I said, well, Jeffy, we're going to heaven.
After leaving the White House, the former president retired to Texas with his late wife. He was a local favorite at this pizzeria.
The customers love him. The second when he walked in the door, people would stand up and clap. And it didn't matter who they were.
Former President Bush will be buried Thursday in Texas. Taking his body there will be his custom-painted train, Bush 4141, painted to resemble Air Force One. Union Pacific Railroad honored him with it back in 2005, but since then, it's been in storage. Now it's been called into service to transport him to his final resting place at the George H.W. Bush Presidential Library behind the Texas A&M campus. And the funeral for the former president will be held at Washington's National Cathedral Wednesday morning. President Trump declared Wednesday a national day of mourning. Federal offices and the stock markets will be closed. We have much more on the life of George H.W. Bush on our website, including a photo gallery looking back at some of his most iconic moments. You can head over to WLNYTV.com.